Well, number one was to be humble, and in this sense, when we're young, a lot of times we're not humble. We might think we are, but we really have a belief in ourselves beyond what we're capable of doing. And in a way, that's good, because that makes us take chances. It makes us be adventurous. But for me, it was to learn to respect the knowledge that was in the game. That, I thought I knew so much because my father was a coach and because I was a pretty good player. And I had to learn that I didn't know very much. I had to learn that I needed to respect my elders. And when I say my elders, the guys that had been coaching much longer than me. Even one of the lessons being that not only do you learn what to do, but you also learn what not to do. You also learn from other people's failures. Because in an industry like coaching, you don't get an unlimited number of chances. It's not like you get a lot of second chances. Mm-hmm. So you're smart if you learn from other people's failures, because you can't fail too much yourself. Maybe you can fail small, but you can't fail big, because you just won't keep getting opportunities. So I remember when I was a pretty young coach and I got my first head coaching job at a higher level. I remember thinking, well, I'm going to design an offense. Well, I was no more ready to design an offense than I was to design a rocket ship. And it was a miserable failure. And I learned that, that arrogance that I had was not going to serve me well. That there were many, many coaches doing many, many things extremely well. And I would be better off picking and choosing which philosophy to follow, which methodology to follow, and then to work hard. Because I wasn't going to outsmart anybody, because in the context of coaching knowledge, I wasn't that smart. But I could be a great student. Mm-hmm. And to be a great student, it meant that I would have to work hard. And I think these were the biggest lessons of my early coaching career was don't try to be too innovative myself. Understand that there is some geniuses out there. They're doing great stuff, and there's no shame in being a copycat. And the one thing that I always had control of was my ability to work hard. And I decided pretty early on that nobody would outwork me. So I became a student that learned faster than most people. And I think those were probably the lessons that carried me forward. And it was the humiliation of failure which made me more humble. And then the biggest lesson I learned about humility was to make sure that I edified everybody else in the process that were contributing to my team. So that was players, assistant coaches, management, to edify them, to let everybody know that it's their work and it's their effort that ultimately contributes to success. And here's why: because it's true. It isn't the head coach, it isn't his work ethic that at the end of the day gets you wins. It might be his leadership, mm-hmm. and his leadership should be anchored in tremendous work ethic. But it's really the work of the people that are at the coalface, the players, the assistant coaches, the funders, the people that are supporting you with resources. It's all of their work that, when you add it all up, equals victories and equals championships and equals successes.
Yeah, for sure. I could also attest to that. Like, as a person that starts podcasting, like Migs Bustos, before when I talked to him, he said when he started, he also got like a small pieces of information from the best journalists when he was starting, like from this, what's good about him, and then he makes it his own. So it's similar to what you mentioned in coaching. You don't just use the coaching philosophy of one guy or only what you think is good, but then you have an open mind and get to learn from others and also apply it to make it your own, and maybe formulate your own philosophy and system that you've been doing over 30 years now, and it's been working out. So that 30 plus years, and that's a great lesson that others could really emulate and learned from your answer in the previous question. So it can also be applied also to other people, not only in sports but also in other professions, that they could also use
Absolutely.
that mentality in approaching their success or their passion in the certain field that they're going through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then I mentioned also the pinnacle or the apex of your New Zealand stint in your 20 years when you guys made the FIBA World Cup. So when you're already on top, I'm also curious how you tell your team or your coaching staff or the whole management to stay on top. Like you mentioned that you always want to, you don't want to be too innovative and implement a lot of new things if you're not that familiar or you're not too knowledgeable on it. But then for you, how do you continue evolving? Like in Lebanon, also in Jordan, you also reached like high stages, like you won a championship and then a silver medal respectively. But then I'm curious how you make your team remain motivated and hungry to continue desiring for success even if they already achieved it.
Diego, I think one of the really interesting things about being in sport is trying to climb the mountain, and everybody's trying to do that. Everybody's excited about that first great win, that first great achievement, that first great championship. But there's another thing that exists in sport, and I had a great instruction in this, and that is success after success. And that's what you're talking about. And so you go back to the 90s when I coached Auckland in the New Zealand Basketball League. And we won, a championship in 1995, kind of out of nowhere. And then we won in 96 and 97, lost in 98, won in 99 and 2000. And so I guess that era was my training ground in how do I give that message to the players? How do I continue to motivate? How do we stimulate the environment to avoid complacency? And all of that is in pursuit of success after success. And so we were always trying to, find ways to do it. And when I say we, what I'm talking about is my coaching staff or the management team, because it's always a collective effort, even the captains of the teams. So, it is a lot about messaging. It's a lot about, when the players walk in the first day after being champions the year before, what is the challenge that you put on the table in front of them? And if you just say, come on, guys, let's go back to back, it's not going to work. You have to break it down. And, for me, coaching, my evolution as a coach has been to be, and I was detailed from the beginning, but it's become even more and more and more detailed. So my first day with those teams would be, guys, last year we shot 47% from the field and we shot 36% from the three last year. Our opponents shot 42% from the field and 31% from the field. From the three, we have to improve on those. Last year, we averaged 6 steals per game. If we're going to be a defensive pressure team, we want to average 9 steals per game. And so our practices have to reflect this. And so now you can see, you're talking about building blocks. You're not talking about back-to-back. Mm-hmm. You're talking about building blocks, something that they can put their teeth into. So how are we going to shoot the ball at 40% from the three when we only shot it at 34% the previous year? Oh, well, we have to do, we have to get 50 more reps up every practice, every guy. Mm-hmm. So now you give them tangible mechanisms to put success on top of success. And, that's the process for me. So it's the messaging and it's the detail that goes into the work ethic that allows you to take the focus off of what you did the previous year and put the focus on what you do today, not on, the night of the championship 7 months down the track. What are we going to do today in practice that's going to put us in that game to be successful in that game? But that's probably a fairly good summarization of how I do it anyway.